Hey everyone, Roseman here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to install the One Piece trading card game simulator onto your Windows computer. There will be links in the description below for both the download to the simulator as well as the Google Drive page with the alt art cards, and I'll show you how to kind of trick out your decks and put some of that alt art into the simulator when we get to that point. But first off, you're going to go to the link that's labeled One Piece Simulator, and you're going to find the 1.29b underscore windows.zip. This is, as of the time of this recording, the most recent version of the simulator. The simulator does have a built-in updater. Sometimes it works, sometimes you have to do a fresh reinstall. I'll show you how you can save your decks after we get this downloaded. That way, if you do have to do a reinstall, you can save your decks and bring them into the new version. As you can see, there are Android APKs, iOS IPAs, a Linux zip, and a Mac zip. So if you guys are running either Mac or Linux, there's some downloads for you guys there. And then if you wanted to put this on your Android phone or your iOS phone, there are some downloads in here for those as well. I haven't done the install on iOS, so I don't know exactly where to tell you to look for everything or how to change any files, but it's fairly straightforward on Android. Super easy to work with, so really cool. So we're going to start by downloading the windows.zip folder for Windows. You're going to choose this continue with download only, and then it's going to ask us to save it. We're going to go ahead and throw this zip folder in our downloads, and we play the patience game. It takes just a quick second there. As you see, it's already done, or just about done. Go ahead and open up our downloads folder here, and then we're going to extract the zip folder. You're just going to right click it, extract all, and you're going to change or choose the location that you want this to extract to. I'm just going to leave it in my downloads for now. However, I recommend that you guys move this to like your desktop or another folder if you have it in like your C drive or something like that. Just put it somewhere that you guys can get to this at pretty straightforward. So once you've chosen your location, we're going to hit extract, and it's going to go through all the extraction stuff, and this should just take a couple seconds depending on the speed of your computer. Nothing too crazy or wacky. And you can see here it's going through all the different packages and the cards and pulling out and putting the cards into the resources. I'll show you guys where all that is, and that's how you'll change the images later if you want to put like alt arts of the leaders or alt art of all the cards, or if you want to do like custom desk mats in your video or your simulator. This is all client side. So you'll see the changes, your opponent will see none of the changes. It'll look to them how they have theirs configured. So if they've done no configuration, it will look just like I'll show you when I launch it to begin with. Or it will look like how they've done it. So if they've got all the alt arts loaded in here, then they'll see all the alt arts for all the cards. And yeah, this could take a couple minutes. It does go through. It has, images for each card that's currently in the release. As of the time of this recording, the simulator does have OP11 loaded in. If you so choose to play in the Eastern format, you can play with the OP11 cards. But it does not have any of the starters that are coming up here in June. Obviously, those were kind of just announced and were getting them before they got them in Japan yet. So it might take a little bit longer to get this going here. So, all right, we got the sim downloaded, and you're simply just going to have this builds windows folder. If you open that up, you're going to have some other folders. There's a decks folder. That's where all your decks are going to look. If we open that up, currently this one's empty. And then there's some simulator data, and then you have the exe itself. I recommend, if this is something you guys want to use a lot, go ahead and right click it, send to your desktop. It'll create a shortcut for this, and that way you don't have to keep hunting down the folder. Not a big deal if you choose not to, but just a quick little tip there. So now that we've got it installed, you can just double click it to open it. It's going to start launching it. And there we are. We're in the sim. You can go into the settings. You can add your player name here. You can mess with any of these settings. I normally have the auto draw on. I turned it off recently to kind of help me slow down and not make so many mistakes in my plays. But you can turn that on if you want. You can skip the blockers step if you have no blockers. That's a really cool feature they have there. It'll auto skip trigger if the life card has no trigger. There is a caution to this one. It could give your opponent some information. So if you're trying to bluff some stuff, maybe don't turn that one on. The confirm end turn option makes you hit the end turn button twice, so you can't accidentally end your turn. This is really good. I recommend, if you guys are just starting to play this, to turn that on so that you make a little bit less misplays. You can confirm attaching Dawn. One thing about the simulator is once you've attached Dawn to a character or your leader, you cannot go backwards. So again, if you're just starting out, I recommend turning this on as well. That'll help you to make sure that you're ready to commit to your attack or to adding that Dawn before you do it. The play sheets are just some dynamic coloring. Really cool, interesting little feature. Offsetting the end turn sets it above where a lot of your action buttons are. Really good to help you, again, not accidentally in your turn when you're not meaning to. Confirm before countering will have you confirm that you want to use that card before it trashes that card for counter. Another really good one to turn on for new players. Hiding player names would hide your name and your opponent's name during a multiplayer match. And the enable attach all allows you to click on a character and simply attach. There's a button for attach all Dawn. It'll attach all active Dawn to that character. So those are the settings you can change. You can come over here to the deck editor, and we have none loaded in, but I'll close this out and I will add it back in my decks folder from my previous build. And now if you look in here, you see we've got all my different decks I've gotten built. So we'll go back one level, we'll reopen the sim. And back into the deck editor, and look, now I've got all of these different deck builds. So give you a little sneak peek at something I've been looking at, thinking about rebuilding my Enel deck. So here's one of the ideas I had for it. So that's really cool. This has a really fun feature where you can copy this deck list to a clipboard. So if we were to do that, and then we simply open up a notepad, it pulls it out into the card format, so you can give that to somebody if one of your friends is looking for a deck list, or it's just a really good way to say, hey, this is how it needs to be formatted if you're trying to import something and you can't find any kind of sites that have a button that does it for you. There is an import option, so if you have a deck list that you're wanting to import, you can just click that import deck from clipboard and it'll create it here. A really good site I recommend is gumgum.gg. I'll put a link in the description for this as well, but they have a lot of the different deck lists of things that are what are winning tournaments and dates. So I went to the West EBO2, which is the current format that I'm in, and here is like who's been winning what. So you see that yesterday on the 24th, a Marshall D. Teach won the BatsuTCG competitive qualifier in first place. So if you wanted to look at their deck list, you could click on that, and it'll pull up their deck list. So you can look at all the cards, and you can hit this copy for sim option. I'm actually going to copy one of these green-purple Luffys because I don't have one built. So we'll copy that, come into this. We'll clear this deck. One thing we want to make sure we do is if you take the name out of this spot and we make a save, it's not going to overwrite the one that we have in our list. So we'll clear this deck. We'll import deck from clipboard, and as you can see, I now have that green-purple Monkey D. Luffy list that we were just looking at. And then you can give it a name. We can call it like green, purple, Luffy, and save. And now you see it's in my list. So really cool stuff with the sim there. If you have a deck list, like you've got some createds, like I've got these Anels down here that are all test builds, and I don't like, say, tier 1 anymore, I can choose to delete that one, and it's going to say, hey, do you really want to do it? And I'm like, yeah, I really want to get rid of that. And then if I go back in my list here, it's gone. So there's how you do that. And in the customized images, this is where you're going to upload images if you wanted to change like the backs of the cards. But there's a simple way to make like the different alt arts. So one of the ones we'll look at, we'll keep using this Anel as our tester here. So right now you see this is the current card we have for the Anel. If we wanted him to be his alt art form, we need to go and download his alt art and add it to the sim files. So we're going to close the simulator again. We're going to exit out of this page because I do have this up in the background. This is the link for all the alt arts as notated by the alt art version 1.25b. It is a little bit old, doesn't have all of them, but I give these guys a hard pass because they are doing this all of their own volition and for free, and it's just out there for the community. So if you can, there is a Patreon link in the simulator. Please give to these guys. They are, feeding our habits and helping the community in a massive way. So we can go into cards, and we're going to find OPO5, and we're going to find, Lord help me, I don't remember what the Anel card is, so I'm just going to pull up on my other monitor real fast one of the deck lists so I can get that card number. We're looking for OPO5098. So this is the alt art from the sound loader. You can pull this one directly from here, but if you wanted like the actual alt art from the set, I think they have it in a variant alt art. Yeah, so there's a variant alt art folder, and we're gonna look for OPO5 alt art, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna find the OPO5098, and this is the actual alt art from the OPO5 set. So you would download it here, and inside of the folder, I actually already have that downloaded. So we're going to go into the alt art leaders and OPO5, and you can see I have all of them downloaded. A little hint, if you guys are making some thumbnails, go ahead and pull some of these files out so you've got them. But then we're going to go back into our folder for all the sim information. So you see we're in the 1.29b windows, the builds windows. You're going to come into the sim data. You're going to go to resources. Sorry, not resources. Streaming assets. you're going to go to cards, and you're going to go to, in this case, I want the OP05 Enel. And you'll see in here, there are 2 files for every card. And you can see the dimensions on the small is 120 by 167, and the dimensions on the large is 480 by 671. Should be the same on this guy. It's a little smaller. What we can do is, I always recommend you rename this to like .old, and then you can add in your new one. And we actually need to make sure that name matches without completely removing it out of here. So we're just going to copy it. Come in here. We want to make sure we give it the exact same name, op05-098.jpg. We're going to paste. Going to rename this one op05-098. It's very important that you do it exactly as the naming convention matches the others, otherwise the card won't pull up properly in the sim. So we have an old one just in case we needed to revert back, and we have our new one. So we're going to go back a couple layers, we're going to go into the sim again, and we'll reload that Enel deck and show you that the larger image is different. The smaller image isn't. You'll have to make your own smaller versions of the PNG files if you want to completely change all the arts. Not terribly hard to do. I recommend you can do it in like Microsoft Paint. Just figure out what the dimensions are by hovering over the file, and then set your new one to those dimensions when you create it. So you can see the small one, but look, there's our big one. Nice new pretty alt art. So you can go through and you can change all the arts on these of any of the ones you want. If you want to do all your deck in alt art, or if you wanted to do, just cards you have, or just cards that are special to you. One thing, like I said earlier, this is all client side, so this will do it just for your machine. And if I go and I play an Enel, that art's going to change for me. Other things you can tweak inside of here are like you can change the playmats, you can change your background, you can change some card back information, things like that. So feel free to play around. You can change like your Dawn, right? If you want to put some custom Dawn in here, or if you wanted like the gold Dawns that were out of the PRB set, you guys can toy around with it and change it, and customize your simulator the way you want it to look, so it looks nice and pretty for you. And then, like I said too, there are the playmats, and obviously these playmats are what changed based off of your leader color. So because the Enel is a mono yellow, you get this mono yellow background. If you're red yellow, you get this one, red purple, so on and so forth. And then there's a play sheet for the training stuff. And that's pretty much it for all of the download of the sim and some of the customization. There is a list here to eggmanevents.com, which is another fabulous site for some deck lists and some meta lists and things like that. And again, here is the Patreon, the patron link. This helps to pay for the server costs and gives you these guys some credit for building this and supporting this and helping the community. Again, huge shout out to them for creating this. This has been a fantastic tool. It helped me to learn when I first started. It's helped my buddies to learn when they first started. Just an absolutely fantastic tool. I recommend you guys use this a lot and get as much practice as possible. With that being said, though, that's all I've got. If you guys have comments, questions, or concerns, please leave them down below in the comments, and I'll answer as many of them as I can. And other than that, remember, guys, good luck, have fun. See ya.